Stop, you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. Sing it for him. Give him a nice little intro there, Bailey.
We need that. We need it.
I feel like Bailey might be gay, 'cause she's not fucking me. Yeah. Alright, welcome back to Your YHOR Rules, y'all. It's episode 34, and we're kicking it in on a slow week. Nothing's really happened this week at all. Nothing's really popped off all that much.
Yeah, not a lot.
I think it's going to be a relatively dull episode, to be completely honest with you. I mean, outside of the fact that fucking Russia invaded Ukraine, I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Everyday shit. Yeah, but that's the big thing that we're doing. Before we get into that, I do want to fucking introduce the Your YHOR Rules fucking discussion page that we talked about on the last episode. Definitely get in there. We are above 100 members. I think we're putting around 120. We've actually had some pretty decent discussion getting posted in there and some people getting in there. So I recommend that you do as well. Get in there, invite some people. Don't invite too many people, though, because they'll give you a 5-day ban for inviting people.
That happened.
Did you know that they did that shit, Justin?
Yeah, she sent it to the group text.
Yeah.
That shit.
It's insane, honestly.
Yeah, it's really dumb. But yeah, me, Bailey, and Sam are all fucking on a ban to invite people. So I know as soon as I can get back, I'm going to invite as many people as I can again. Because I think some people just don't know about it. Because I went through, I was like, these people would have fucking joined, but I just don't think that they know about it. So yeah, get in there, check that shit out. Let's start getting into the topic. The elephant in the room. Russia invaded the Ukraine on Thursday. A lot of stuff has popped off since then. There's a lot of people that have a lot of different opinions on the matter. We're going to kind of get into it a little bit. One thing that I just kind of want to fucking put like preface on is kind of why this whole thing is happening, because I think a lot of people are seeing what's going on, and there's a lot of people saying that it's unjustified, and when it comes down to it, it kind of is unjustified. But at the same time, I do kind of see where Putin is kind of coming from in the thing. There was a treaty that never actually got signed, but it was back in the day that NATO would not push any more countries to the east that were former Soviet countries. And what ended up happening is all like 12 of the other countries that were there ended up over the next 30 years coming into NATO. So, of course, Russia kind of feels like they are being surrounded and that it is a military move. But at the same time, NATO is a completely open-door policy. So if they want to join, it was on them to do so. Now, back in 2014, that was when the Ukraine got invaded. What was that little area called? You know what it was called?
I can't remember.
It's like Croatia or something.
Oh, Crimea.
Yeah, Crimea. So they invaded Crimea, and they did that. The whole thing that was going on then was the Ukraine had like a revolution in a sense, where they took out their former president, who was a like Russian backer at the time, and then they put in this new president who is more for like NATO, I guess. I think he's more just a fucking Ukraine independence and being a sovereign country and shit like that. But with that being said, Russia ended up invading that one area and annexing it, and now it's 8 years later, and they feel that they have the right to do Ukraine. I guess Ukraine is starting to get to a point where they were going to get into NATO. And since they haven't, they've kind of come in, and it looks like NATO has moved people to the border, but isn't necessarily getting involved in the entire conflict.
Well, a lot of Ukraine, Russia thinks that a lot of Ukraine is Russian anyways.
Yeah.
Because when you get into further into Ukraine, it turns where people are speaking Ukrainian, but on like the border and a little bit in, they speak Russian.
Well, like 90% of the country speaks both languages.
Yes,
and
but
the languages are very close to each other.
When you get into it, of the like where they're speaking more Ukrainian, they don't enjoy when you start speaking Russian in that part of wherever it is.
I was actually gonna ask if that's kind of part of it, that like Ukraine is a little bit almost, I mean, I don't want to say segregated, but like there's a lot of people who are kind of for the Russian way of life, and they speak Russian. And I don't know if this is true. I haven't looked it up myself.
17% of the country actually is Russian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And Putin, from Putin's point of view, he's coming in almost at the aid of those people, right? I mean, in a sense. I never looked it up myself, but I heard that they even tried to like make it I don't know if it's against the law or against what to even speak Russian in certain areas. I don't know if that's true.
I don't know anything about that. I never read it. Coming to an aid might be a little bit extreme thing. He might use that as his justification to do so, but I don't think that the Ukrainians really want Russia invading them.
Yeah.
I don't think a lot of the Russian community wants them to invade either.
There were videos of people coming out into protest and shit like that when the invasion did happen on Thursday, and they were immediately arrested.
Yes, so, I did see videos of them getting arrested for doing that.
So it's one of those things where Ukraine doesn't really want them there. There's probably a lot of Russian sympathizers there. I have it pulled up right here on Britannia that Russia remains Ukraine's most important trade partner. So it's one of those things where, like, it's deep roots in between the Ukraine and Russia. Ukraine used to be a part of it way back in the day and kind of got split into its own country, mostly fucking under control still of Russian or other countries around it and stuff like that. But I would say, yeah, it's pretty safe to say that not many people want Russia there. But Russia does feel that they are entitled to it. Yeah. Again, I don't want to say that there's justification because most of the things that Putin has said doesn't really fucking equate to being able to invade. But they are not a member of NATO, so that's why NATO's not getting involved. And because of that, it's just one of those things where it's like, do we have to, like, necessarily, we put the sanctions on them, but if it's not a part of NATO, do we really need to get involved with this situation? Like I just said before, the trade is fucking something that they already are the biggest proprietor is fucking Russia. So it's kind of like they're not a part of NATO. They've fucking failed the kind of like entry into it a couple times. And when it comes down to it, I don't think we need shit to pop off more than fucking.
No, I think we should just let them take
it.
We
don't.
Do you think that Russia is going to go after Poland and Finland because they're not in NATO either? Do you think that they're going to go after them?
Well, the thing about it is that NATO and Poland, Sweden and Poland both came out and said after the invasion happened, because they had kind of been dodging the whole NATO thing for a while, that it might have changed their perspective on things after the invasion happened. And apparently Putin came out and said that there would be repercussions if they were to join. So that could be something that we need to watch out for in the future. But like you said today, the fucking world teams for Finland or for Poland and Sweden both came out and said that they will not play in the World Cup with Russia. They refuse to do that. So in a way, I think that's kind of like their fuck you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Football is very big
in
that country or in those countries. So. That is a fuck you to them.
What exactly do they mean by that, though? Like they won't play in the World Cup. Like, they won't play.
If Russia's in it, they won't play.
If Russia's even in the league, they won't play against them, or they won't play in the league in general.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird shit. You know, in the current Winter Olympics that just got over, that Russia actually was not allowed to have like the Rus and fucking
they had like
the
Russia something corporation, Olympic corporation,
ROC.
Apparently,
because it was in China had banned the Russian flag and like shit
I didn't
like
know
that. That's what I read. I'm not entirely sure on that.
Aren't China and Russia like coercing about all this?
Well, that's one thing that did happen on Thursday. Once the invasion happened in Russia, China scrambled planes. And it was one of the questions that I had brought up in the discussion page that we had. That was this something that was planned between the two like socialist powers, or was it something that they just took advantage of the whole invasion to be like, hey, if Russia's doing it, we can do it? Because the Taiwan and China thing has been going on for months now too.
Ukraine, but I mean, so is Ukraine and Russia.
Yeah.
Well, the China thing. I think that they did it because they were like, well, this is a way bigger issue, so people are gonna follow this more, and we're just gonna do whatever we like, sweep it on the rug, and that no one's gonna pay attention.
Yeah, it was definitely one of those things where if NATO was going to get involved in the Ukraine and stuff like that, it would have happened a lot sooner than it is. And judging by the fact that they haven't done anything now, it's not going to happen. I think China kind of saw the initial like they're not really doing anything, so maybe we can get away with taking over the fucking spot that we want to.
Yeah.
So a lot of people think that because they're both communist countries that it is something that they're like in coherence with each other. But in reality of it, China is historically for thousands of years a very isolated fucking country that does not like to fucking really involve themselves with the rest of the world. And when it comes down to it, the power struggles between the three big powers, China, Russia, and the United States. Russia has more of a straightforward approach to it. Obviously, they just kind of invaded a country. China tends to do the fucking war of attrition, where they come from the inside. They know that they have a sixth of the world's population. They know they have a bunch of scientists who are starting to outclass the United States and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. They're going to incorporate spies into places and fucking try to take it out from within. Yeah. And Russia is a little bit more like, hey, we have nuclear warheads. We're going to invade this, and if you do anything, we might start launching nukes. Yeah.
Also, if you guys are wondering, Keith is typing in, and he's gonna be able to get sources and such.
Yeah.
Right on the spot. That's why he has his laptop on his.
Yeah, I finally fixed the fan, so I have to do it. But I'm trying to figure out why Russia wasn't allowed to use their flag. It looks like it was because of some anti-doping, and Russians are known for fucking doping up their guys. So I guess they got in probably in trouble with that. And
wasn't there a Russian girl that got caught for?
Yeah, she got caught for doping.
Yeah, it was a really young one.
That track runner that fucking got banned for weed, and she lives in a legal state where you can smoke it and stuff like that. Yeah, that was a whole big issue. That all just came down to really race, if you ask me. I mean, it also probably goes. I don't know. There's really no justification behind that, because if you're smoking weed compared to doping is something that gives you like a strict advantage in sports, and weed is just like, it calms you down. Fucking maybe you smoke it after you run a lot to fucking help ease the muscles and shit like that.
If anything, it'd be harder to push yourself to train while you're high on weed. You know?
Well, I know a lot of people that smoke weed and fucking like they'll go lift and shit. I couldn't ever imagine doing that.
No,
yeah. So,
I'd rather chill.
Yeah. So I don't know, but bringing it back around a little bit, back to the Russian thing, it's something. They have two vastly different mindsets when it comes to control and how they're going to fucking run their domain with the world. But yeah, we'll have to see what's going to happen with that situation. Right now, Russia came in there and pretty much did some damage. They were taking over airports within fucking hours of the invasion happening. Yep. Now they are starting to surround Kyiv. I haven't checked in a while because we had some podcast difficulties. I was trying to do some new shit with it, and it's been a couple hours, so I haven't really checked to see what's happening. But Bailey did show me something earlier that said that like they're handling it pretty well in Kyiv. Yeah. Well,
I think they're just surrounding Kyiv because they want to take control of the country. So why would you destroy one of the biggest cities in Ukraine? So they're I think they're just gonna surround it.
I'm sure
and starve them out.
I'm sure they're trying to keep the damage to a minimum.
No.
I mean, if you start dropping fucking bombs into a city, it's gonna ruin everything that you're trying to take over.
Yeah, and that was one of the things. Drew brought up some stuff about Trump saying that Putin was a genius for invading at the time, because all they're gonna do is fucking face economic sanctions or whatever. So they might get some tariffs put on. They might be hard to trade, but Ukraine's the biggest fucking trader to them, and Ukraine is also a world power when it comes to arms dealing, fucking around the world. And if they're already the biggest trade person that they have is Russia, they're obviously fucking getting it. Now Russia's just fucking skipping the middleman and taking all the fucking thing. Yeah. Because they're very rich in like iron ore and magnesium and stuff like that, things that can be used to make weapons. Mm-hmm. They specialize in fucking armored vehicles and stuff like that, so their steel production is fucking very high. There.
Yeah. Well, he was saying in the discussion page that what he thought that Trump was sympathizing with Putin.
More empathy.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think Trump is just he tells it how it is, and he was like, no, this is. Well, I'm just saying. This is how
I told him in the group chat. I was like, look, man. I was like, Trump made a very good point. Yeah, I was like, the tariffs are not anything compared to this large chunk of land that he's going to get that fucking specializes in arms dealing when their fucking primary thing in Russia is a military force.
And if he really cared about the like citizens of Russia and stuff like that, he wouldn't have done it because a lot of them didn't want him to do it. So. Yeah. You know.
What do you think the possibility of if, say, something were to pop off where, like, Poland and Sweden were to join the NATO alliance and stuff like that, and Putin were to end up getting to a point where he started to fucking invade more countries and shit started to pop up? Do you think that there's any legitimacy behind fucking maybe one of his own fucking personal fucking people, like, killing him out so that we don't have to do it?
It could be. It could be like that.
I mean,
it could be like that.
Because I mean, if you look at it around the fucking through the centuries or whatever, when it comes to war and the fucking giant empires that were around, a lot of the leaders were killed by their own men because they became too power hungry and fucking ended up realizing that was something they do.
Yeah, it could go exactly like that.
Because when it comes down to it, if I'm sitting there and I'm a Russian soldier and like I'm fucking doing these things, we know that we're going to fucking run through Ukraine pretty quickly. But when it starts coming down to fucking all-out war and potentially nuclear firearms getting fucking raised, I might question the person who's in charge of my military.
Well, I mean, you could also say that if you look at like the U.S. military, they like brainwash them. So, do you think that he started doing that, and they just are like, no, we will always support Putin? You know, he's our commander in chief. Do you think that would come into play with them?
That happens. That happens in all military aspects. It's something that is a complete necessity when it really comes down to it. I mean,
I'm not saying it's not.
People say that the military preys on young men and stuff like that, but at the same time, the reason why we do fucking live the lives that we do is because of how powerful the United States military is. Yeah. And in order for the United States military to function, they need to get these young kids and stuff like that, and they need to instill discipline in them. Because it's not something where if you're not there, you're not ready to fucking act when bullets start flying, then you fuck not only yourself but everyone in your fucking platoon.
Yes.
Yep.
And I've actually known some fucking people personally. I'm not going to put their name out there, but they have said that the thing about the United States military that works so well is the underlings, the guys who are really doing the legwork. When it comes down to it, if there's something that is just completely immoral, they believe that the fucking soldiers would end up fucking laying down arms and not doing what the commander-in-chief says. Yeah, so there is a strong possibility in that could happening. Russia's a little bit different. They're bred a little bit different out there. So,
I mean, do you think it could be like Hitler? Hitler brainwashed, all of his military to do what he wanted them to do.
Yeah, but
and they did a lot of really, really fucked up shit.
But the thing about that was the person in power was getting them to do fucking those things.
I know that's what I'm saying.
Our leaders don't necessarily do that. We do, even though we don't want to admit it. It kind of happens everywhere. So yes, I believe that Putin is fucking instilling fucking this mass psychosis that we're going to actually fucking get into here in a little bit to his people, in order to fucking get them to fucking do the things that
I guess I should have had a better example of what I was asking. But
they kind of.
I think that at the end of the day, when the Russian military will do some fuck things, like we saw that one where they're not supposed to be targeting civilians. Putin came out, but we saw that tank that ran over the fucking car and shit like that. Like obviously that's something that's fucking not okay, and like. That's some fuck shit, but I think when it comes down to nuclear weapons, I think that people might start rationalizing things different.
Hopefully.
What were you about to say, Justin?
It just kind of made me think of the point I brought up in the group text. You said you'd comment on today is, kind of how the only position I ever really take on war. I understand that in the world that we've created, it is a bit of a necessity, but in my eyes personally, I feel like it's just something that makes humanity look a little, like less awesome, I guess.
It's definitely something that this entire thing is stupid.
Yeah.
Like there's no reason to be fighting over these lands. Like what the fuck do we need?
Yeah. Like,
and we've become so advanced in our fucking military worldwide that fucking all-out war is fucking just not something that we fucking need.
Yeah. I mean, the things we're capable of as species, that thinks like we do, we should be. Like, we could do some really cool shit if we weren't wasting our time doing these kind of things. But it begs the question, like, these people that get these powers over, like, the masses, is it possible to give a human being that kind of power and them not try to abuse it?
I don't know, because I've never gained that type of power.
Yeah.
I think all of us kind of see it in fucking the things that we do. Like, all three of us are DJs, so it's one of those things where, like, when you start playing shit and people fucking come in and start fucking feeding the ego a little bit and get a little bit big, you start doing things a little bit differently, you start fucking having a little bit more confidence in yourself. And for me, personally, I know that fucking that's not necessarily a good thing, because then I start to come off as, like, a cocky prick type shit. And so when you're fucking talking about fucking an entire military of a world power behind you and stuff like that, I would imagine that it's hard not to fucking dilute yourself into that.
Yeah, for sure. I think the same thing, and it's honestly really sad, but I mean, it like the evidence is kind of there, you know.
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
that's
it's happened time and time again.
and that's why I am a fan of more like fucking localized government. Fucking like I really don't care about what's going on in the Ukraine and Russia. If I'm being completely honest with you, there could be some fucking ramifications that could end up fucking affecting me. But even on the United States scale, I'm not gonna sit here and call myself a patriot. I don't want to fucking go out and die for my fucking country. I fucking grew up on this plot of land. Just because I was born here doesn't mean that I need to die for your fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes down to it, like Cincinnati, that's something that I could get a little bit more behind. I know these people. Fucking, they're part of my everyday life. They're integrated into my fucking life. It's something that I care about the community around me.
Yeah,
but
for
that's
sure.
because I live with them every day.
Mhm.
I don't know anyone from Ukraine. I don't know anyone from fucking Russia.
Yeah.
What if you guys get
Yeah.
drafted? I don't think it'll ever
Okay,
come down.
I
to
wanna-
that point,
I did
but
wanna
what
fucking-
if- what if
I
happened?
did want to bring this point up real quick because there are a lot of people that I know that are very scared that they're going to end up getting drafted because of this entire situation. Look,
I-
the draft is fucking. There's a reason why we got rid of the draft. It's because fucking. Most people are not ready to fucking fight a fucking war. It is a last ditch effort to fucking get people. I saw someone comment this on a fucking Facebook post of one of my Marine friends.
I did too.
It was fucking look, when the draft gets instilled, they just need bodies to die. That's all it is at that point. And so it's one of those things where just because even if it were to pop off to a point where the United States were to go to war with Russia, they're not just going to start throwing random motherfuckers on the line. It's going to create a lot of people who fucking have that sense of patriotism that are going to rise up and join the ranks to do it.
Yeah.
Like, it would swell. But as for just taking your random Joe off the streets and shit like that, we might see that, but it's going to take some time.
Could you
Yeah.
imagine like a guy like you know who James Charles is?
Yes.
Could you imagine a guy like that at war?
Well, the one thing that the military
Oh,
does
gosh.
is fucking, once they get you, they'll do a very good job of fucking changing some habits.
Yeah.
Yeah, but still, I don't know.
Yeah. So, but as for the question that you asked before about, like, if I got drafted, what would I do? I really don't know, because that is a very fucking intense situation that I would have to be put into.
Yes.
As I just said before, I do not feel a sense of patriotism towards the United States of America because I was born in fucking the United States of America. I don't want to fucking go and die for the fucking country, but when it comes down to it, what other option do you have? So, they'll
Yeah,
get
yeah.
you. If you get drafted too, they'll come up and get your ass.
Yeah.
So, it would be one of those things where it's like, I either got to do this and take my fucking chances there or start a completely life. I don't really want to answer the question either because it fucking, that's something that would make me fucking.
Yeah, my grandpa, when the war was going off, when he was, I think he was 18, he just had gotten married to my grandma, and he was getting onto the bus, and they got a call saying that the war was over.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he's like, thank God, because I would have died.
Yeah.
He's like, I would have not been able to do that. And my grandpa
Well-
is he is a hard-ass fucking man.
That's a
He was like,
perfect.
nah, I would have
That's
died.
a perfect example. Fucking the beaches of Normandy or whatever. We were
Yep.
fucking sailing people up in these fucking boats, and they'd fucking empty the fucking thing, and MG42s just raining down,
yeah.
just fucking piling up bodies as you're trying to get out. Like at that point, you're just a number to fucking waste fucking lead and
What-
fucking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the specific or estimated number on how many people died on that beach?
It was
Oh, I don't know.
Normandy. I can look it up real quick.
I actually
I've
have
heard
a-
it before, but
I actually have a picture on my phone of my great-grandpa in a U-boat going to the beaches of Normandy. getting on there.
425,000 Allied and German troops were killed.
oh my god.
Killed, wounded, or missing.
Yeah, if they went missing, chances are they died. You
Yeah.
know.
I mean, that's kind of a legitimate thing. If you fucking get drafted or whatever, fucking, they might give you a free ticket somewhere where you can just fucking slip out real quick and fucking.
I don't know. Well, I mean,
Depends on where you go.
I think there were quite a bit, at least in what was the Japan war? Fuck.
World War II.
What was it? No, but or I'm thinking of like a battle, but
Okinawa.
yeah. They would like just leave. Like they would try to get out as much as they could. A lot of people did, and
Well,
they-
Okinawa was an island in the middle of nowhere. So it doesn't
maybe
make
that maybe it
sense.
wasn't Okinawa
Yeah,
then.
no, but yeah, I could see. I don't know. Fucking Dodgers are a fucking tricky.
What is that called? Traders of War or something like that, where they just like
They go AWOL. Traitors,
AWOL.
treason.
Yeah.
Yeah, fucking. It's one of those. I just don't know, to be completely honest with you. When it comes down to the draft, it's such like a fucking big thing. Like
Yeah.
like making people fight a fucking war that they don't want to fucking be in. Like, I fucking empathize with people who fucking dodge, but at the same time, there is that fucking sense of like, hey, your fucking life is being fucking, or your fucking rights are being infringed upon. We're at fucking war. This could fucking drastically change your way of life. Why the fuck aren't you fighting for what
your
we
life,
know? Yeah. So, yeah, I see it. It's a tough question to answer, and it's one that fucking I really don't want to have to answer unless I'm put in the situation.
I understand. Yeah. Well, then I guess we can bring up the thing that Hunter sent us. Or I think he put it in the. I think he put it in the group about the space station, because we are up in the International Space Station with Russians, and they were.
I think they said that in the fucking message. I think they said that Russia currently had control of it, so maybe they fucking.
But they also said that I don't know if they switched out or not.
That's what it sounded like from the article, but continue.
I have no clue. But they were saying that the flight path does not go over Russia, and from what I got from it, I don't know much about space, and I don't know if they could do this, but from what I got was that they, because the flight path doesn't go over Russia, that they were like, you're going to put other people in danger because we could in-orbit this thing and bring it on top of the United States, wherever they wanted to.
Well, no. The way that he had worded it was that it could fall basically anywhere. He could say something about China, and that might end up pissing China off to fucking raise influences. I think if they were to send it out of orbit, fucking not doing the proper calculations or whatever, it would kind of just land where it lands.
Yeah, I have no clue if
that's what it kind of sounded like in the thing.
Somewhere.
That entire story just seemed like a fucking an empty threat to me, if I'm being completely honest, because I don't know if they could necessarily fucking make that. I know they could make it happen with the right mathematics behind it or whatever, but why are you fucking going to derail the fucking International Space Station just to make one fucking major event or something like that? If they really had an issue, because they said they were going to do this because of the sanctions against Russia.
Yes.
And if fucking the sanctions against Russia are really going to piss Russia off to that point, they'll just fucking start bombing the United States and NATO.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that's crazy. I mean, could you imagine, what did you say, fighting in zero gravity?
Yeah. That would be so weird. Like, I wonder if, because, like, you do have an impact, but, like, there's a certain level of fucking impact that you can't get.
Well, your muscles,
like that, and you start to, muscle deficiencies.
Yeah, so I don't know if you'd be able to actually hit.
You would. It's one of if a wrench hits you, it's still going to hit you, but it just doesn't have the extra momentum behind it. It's just one of those things where, like, when you're fighting, you want to be balanced. You want to be fucking have like a strong fucking core to you and stuff like that. And at that point, you're just kind of floating in the air. Like you can't fucking turn your body and fucking hit with it. So yeah, it might be a little bit weird fighting in space. But yeah, I think we've kind of fucking gotten through the whole Russian thing a little bit. The last thing that I kind of want to say is to anybody who is worried about things that are going to fucking happen with the United States and stuff like that and NATO. At this point in time, the NATO has fucking only stationed their force, which is the first time NATO has ever had to fucking release their fucking like task force that was for defense or whatever, and they put them on the border of NATO countries, and fucking they have left them there at this point in time. So as of right now, it looks like they're gonna let Ukraine and fucking Russia fight it out. Russia's probably gonna run through them in a couple weeks. Starve them out. They've taken almost everything except for Kyiv, I think, but Ukraine probably just pulled everything back to Kyiv because they knew it was probably their best defense at that point, and they know that they don't want to actually absolutely level the city. So
I can't remember the number, but a lot of people left and went to countries surrounding that were under NATO.
Yeah, no.
They fled to other countries.
Putin did come out and say that they were not targeting civilians. They were letting they were following like Geneva rules, I guess it would be. So, I mean, of course, there's going to be civilian casualties and shit. There's a fucking invasion going on.
Yeah,
but for the most part, they're letting people get out. They just want to fucking take the Ukraine, annex it, and it looks like they're just going to leave it at that at this point.
Hopefully.
We'll see. Things will happen over the next fucking couple of days. We'll probably still cover it a little bit, but just to put people's mind at ease right now, it looks like they're going to take over the Ukraine. Ukraine is going to probably keep its status as a country, have a dummy politician instilled as its leader that is fucking controlled by Russia, and that'll be the like kind of Axis alliance that we have in the world right now.
Yeah,
but things will probably change.
I also think that I read it I think yesterday. There's no American troops in Ukraine. So if anybody had
Yeah.
anybody go out
No.
on deployment to,
Well, there's
I don't think there's any.
There's people from the United States being deployed, but they're being deployed to the NATO borders.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So that could put your mind at ease. What happens from here is whatever. Thursday was a little nerve-wracking, just being like, what the fuck is about ready to happen? But after fucking a couple hours and a day and seeing that NATO really didn't have the response that everyone was looking for, I'm guessing that it's probably going to be take over Ukraine, and then we're going to let it at that for the time being.
Yeah, I think that's all Putin actually wants is Ukraine. But, again, that goes back to the power-hungry thing, is he could take Ukraine and be like, well, that was kind of easy. All right, let's continue.
Yeah, and then this kind of does go into our next point about the whole mass psychosis that we were going to talk about was like kind of the after effects of what would happen when Putin does get into Ukraine. He's probably going to start severely desensitizing the people into fucking becoming Russian sympathizers.
Yep, like Hitler.
Yeah. Yeah, so Justin was the one who kind of had brought this one up, and I know that he's kind of got some things to say on it, so fucking if you want to kind of take the lead on this one, though.
I first heard of mass formation psychosis on Joe Rogan, of all places, but it came from, I heard about it in 2 different episodes, and these guys, that they've dealt with certain controversies. They seem to be pretty intelligent cats. So I decided to look it up, and I found a couple other videos on it. And it really, for me, it kind of connected a lot of dots for what I see when I look around in place, whether it's the United States or even it's potentially something that you can see anywhere you look.
Yes.
Yeah. It really explains for me that why some people are so tapped into these cognitive biases of things that are really just not. I don't think they're factual. If they are, they're blended with lies. And people are all in on it. You can't convince them of shit.
Yeah.
And there's people like that with COVID right now. You'll still fucking have people in the fucking grocery stores that are like, why don't you have a mask on? It's like, no one has a mask on. Why the fuck are you picking me out? Why are you being like this?
Or people in
wear
their
your
cars
fucking mask
alone.
and fuck off. And it's just one of those things where it's like, what the fuck? It's stupid for you to feel this way. But at the same time, it's not necessarily the people that have been convinced to having that sort of bias. A lot of the people are the ones that just do nothing. Like, at the end of the day, there's still fucking all this shit going on with fucking COVID that fucking is being pushed upon us. Like, you want to go to a big show, you still need to have your fucking vax cards, and people need to fucking be checked for fucking vax. And it's like, if we wanted to, we could fucking do something about it, but most people just don't really care enough to fucking do anything because they've been so desensitized by fucking the fucking it's totalitarianism or whatever. Where there's rulers and the ruled. And the people at the top give the fucking information to the people at the bottom, and they just kind of have to fucking go along with it.
Well, explain what mass psychosis actually is, because there could be people out there that have no clue what actual mass psychosis is,
so
of it.
It's a very
it's a complex.
Yeah, it's a complex.
I know it is.
It's very complex. But the best I could do to sum it up is it's basically your basic idea of madness, of mania, of hypnosis, psychosis, whatever. When you think of that on the individual level, people, there's plenty of ways you can get there, whether if you abuse drugs and alcohol, or you've just had severely traumatic experiences, and really, what it pushes you have so much anxiety or depression or whatever, and it pushes you to a psychotic break. And a psychotic break, I'm quoting a video I found online, but a psychotic break is, according to some, or against what most people believe, it's not a descent into further disorder. It's a reordering of one's own mind, to where you might be believing complete bullshit, but it makes you feel better. It makes you feel like you can deal, you know.
And there's other forms of mass psychosis. That's just the one that he's talking about too. But there's like stories of these like groups of people that all saw the same thing, like it's like a group of people that were like at some gathering in like the 1900s, and like there were fucking thousands of people that all saw this thing shoot through the sky, but there were other people there who just didn't see it whatsoever. And it's like, how did all these people see? So how did some of these people see these things, and how did people don't? And like, it might just be one of those crazy ass events that was like an outlier that like people fucking were induced, linked somehow telepathically or some shit like that. I don't know, but like that was just them all fucking envisioning something. Psychosis can be induced by drugs, and like I've seen it, witnessed it before, where people just are completely out of their mind. And then there's kind of the form that he's talking about, that it's like you've just been desensitized by shit so much that you start to fucking act in a different way that is not necessarily who you are.
Yeah. And I mean that goes with like fear mongering and stuff like that.
Yeah, it usually comes from just a like a constant of, you know, whether it's fear or just stress, you know, just whatever, you know, whatever is something that can take your focus and keep you on that and keep you worried, keep you, you know.
Yeah. Like the video that Justin sent us, it was talking about the witches and how people killed off a bunch of women because they just said they were witches, and it was, you know, one person or a few people started a rumor saying that they were witches, and they were
kill them because they said that they were witches.
No, not the witches saying they were witches, but the people. There was like a group of people, or one person who knows who actually started it, but they were like, that woman's a witch. And they did so much to make other people believe that woman was a witch that everybody started believing that they were witches.
Yeah. Like something where, like, you know, maybe it's raining for a week straight and that's way too much rain or whatever. Oh, we must have a witch in our midst. And now, because one person is saying that and they don't really have the knowledge or fucking scientific backing to really prove that fucking witchcraft is not an actual thing, one person can fucking start to fucking say these things, and the more and more you hear it, the more and more you're deluded into fucking believing these things, because the rain keeps coming. And if you're fucking smart, and maybe you're someone who's a meteorologist or something like that can predict fucking when the weather is coming back at a time like that, you have such an advantage of being able to fucking manipulate at that point in time. One of the things that I brought up in his discussion on the fucking page was the Scientology. Scientology does this thing where, like, it's a cult. They induce this sort of mass psychosis where what they do is they almost have a ranking system, this like video game-esque ranking system in their thing, where the higher ranked people have more knowledge on what the fucking founding of the actual religion is. And because of that, they fucking have to go through these little like interview sessions that they have with the upper people in order to fucking get there, and the entire time they're just like essentially manipulating the fuck out of them into believing these things. And like once you get in there, you realize that like it's so insane, but you've done so much fucking work to get to this point that you can't stop. That's why I say like a fucking video game-esque thing. When I'm grinding rank, just seeing that fucking number go up fucking is the reason that makes me get in.
Yeah, and you'll play till you gotta fucking go to work the next day, you know?
Exactly.
I mean, that can go with the same thing like with like social media. Like you post a picture on Instagram or something, and you see that you get a bunch of likes on that picture, you're going to post another picture. Because you want that gratification of posting another picture and seeing that people actually enjoy what you're doing or whatever.
The biggest thing we saw with his video was the social media.
And that's the thing too, is like the biggest point that I would want to bring to the table about a mass formation psychosis or anything of the similar nature is you know, how susceptible any human being is to being convinced of something, and it doesn't take much, especially if it's sugar coated, you know, if it's enticing, if it, you know, if you like it, like you'll choose bullshit over truth, you know, almost any time. And the only way to really, you know, combat that is to you know,
Well,
I guess harden your mind. I mean, but like
that's what the video kind of alluded to with how we would like divert the mass psychosis. There are some people. It was a fucking video of the Heil Hitler, like everyone in the crowd doing it. And there was the one guy who was just standing there in the crowd like this. It's like there are individuals who see through the fucking bullshit, and the only way to get through it is for those people to speak up and keep saying their things. Like I've been told that I fucking have some out there ideas and that fucking I am a little bit too much at times, but at the same time, like the stuff that I say, I genuinely believe in, and like it's insane as I am made out to be, or may not be. Like I know these things as fact. Like it's not the fact that like it's not he said she said type shit. This is an objective fucking viewpoint on things, and like the way that I see it, I just see all these people as like puppets that are just fucking blindly following the fucking light. And like some of the things that I say like should be listened to a little bit more, but when you have the fucking big government, the guy with all the money who's saying it, like, well, he's rich. So obviously that fucking he's going to be the one. Power. He has more fucking intelligence than this guy right here. So
well, or like fake news. Like I sent Keith an article on or let's do the Ghost of Kyiv or whatever.
That's
that ended up being not true, but a bunch of people got behind it.
We don't know if it's true or not.
Well, the videos were from a video game.
Yes. Everything that I have seen about the Ghost of Kyiv, there has not been many specifics, and the ones that were specific were kind of blatantly fucking, what's the word for it? Made up, I guess. I'll just say. It's like Gibby sent me one that had his name, rank, and fucking all that shit, and like the first picture that I saw was completely and totally fucking photoshopped. Like it was one of the worst Photoshop jobs I've ever seen. And Sam posted it in the discussion board, and I was like, hey man, I was like, I'm going to leave it up to you whether you want to keep it up there, but it's kind of no legitimacy behind this. It's most likely propagated bullshit that Ukraine is fucking putting out there so that people think that they have a chance and is instilling fucking a morale boost in their troops. That's the way it looks like it is. So,
but that's how easy that shit can get started.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And when we have the media that interconnects the entire world, like this is the day after. This is Friday morning that we heard about this Ghost of Kyiv who gunned down fucking 6 pilots in one day, and like you see where the psychosis is being instilled, because I've seen so many people sharing that fucking
and it starts that easy though.
Yeah.
Not
people who were in the military fucking sharing that shit, and it's like, yeah, it's nice to believe that. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's not positive for the way that we think who stand with Ukraine over Russia. It's not necessarily a negative thing for them. For a Russian sympathizer, it might be though.
But it does go to show just how easy it is when there's, everybody has access, or I mean not everybody, but like certain people, certain interests have access to our attention through something we carry around in our pockets all day and we spend money on, and once again, like we all played telephone growing up, so something gets past us, even like, for example, the witch hunt thing, somebody could have just made a joke about a woman being a witch, and then I might say something to you about it. By the time it gets to Keith, it's starting to sound a little bit more serious, and then we convince the next guy of it, and before too long, it's become something that people are considering, people are,
And the thing about it is, once you have reached that point, they've made a very good point about the whole group mentality with it, is once you see someone else who is doing these fucking things that we know are completely immoral, we become more likely to do it because we see that someone else is doing it.
Yeah.
I have some very dark thoughts, and I think that a lot of people have fucking the same dark thoughts. I think I'm just one of the only people who actually fucking puts it out there. Yeah. And once I do put it out there, I see how people react to it. Yeah. All of a sudden, fucking, they start coming forward and saying like, "Oh yeah, I've done these things. I've seen these things. And it is what it is." We were talking about that before, how I tend to get shit out of people. I just put my shit out there. And when you put it out so confidently and fucking let people fucking know where you really align yourself with, then they are more comfortable to come out and do it.
Keith
now, when you are able to fucking
know.
when you're able to realize that you have that power, you can do some serious damage with it.
Yeah.
Because I could blatantly lie about shit, get some things out there, and fucking use that information against someone else.
Yeah.
Well, don't do
Yeah.
that. But yeah.
I don't do that.
Well, I saw he's a comedian. I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but he has a show on Netflix. It's about a bunch of political stuff. It came out like right after COVID.
Yeah.
But he was talking in an interview talking about TikTok, and this is speculation in his opinion, whatever. But he was saying TikTok was a Chinese app that was put to the U.S. and the algorithm in China, they have videos of like scientists making cool shit and stuff like that. What they want their population to, or their children to see. And then our algorithm in the U.S. is, a bunch of hey mamas, a bunch of just dancing on TikTok, a bunch of lip syncing, a bunch of shit that we shouldn't give a fuck about, but we do because humans are.
That's a very scary thing because what they're doing is going to end up instilling fucking kids' younger fucking impressionable minds to fucking grow up and do something with their life to become like a scientist.
Yes.
Now, what we're doing over here, people see that and they're like, I want to be a funny YouTuber.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's one of the biggest things that I actually made a post that I deleted quickly after because Max fucking called me out on it. It was a stupid post. Right after I found out the invasion, I was like, the easiest way to fix the cupcake generation in fucking parentheses is all-out war. And he's like, yeah, man. He's like, I just want you to know that fucking most of the people fighting for our country are fucking part of that cupcake generation, and you wouldn't trade your place where you're at for their place at any kind of way.
Yeah, I mean,
I was like, I deleted it and texted him. I was like, I'm just going to delete that, man. I was like, you're right. I was like, it was meant to be a joke. It was 100% a joke.
Yeah.
But you kind of see where I'm coming from.
That's a good war tactic though, because
and
or just in general tactic of training young minds in another country different things than what you're training.
And that's why I had said before about China working within. We know that fucking TikTok is this application. That's why fucking Trump was like trying to ban TikTok and shit because they can easily access any information that we have on fucking on that application.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a Chinese application now. I think someone in the U.S. bought it.
I don't think that.
I look it up. I think so.
I
think so.
I have this in front of me.
I still haven't
I'm
downloaded
pretty
TikTok. I don't want to, but Facebook has already quickly become like they've adapted the ways of TikTok. They have the Facebook Reels, and it's like I get upset with myself sometimes how often I like pull up Facebook, go straight to those, and just watch them for fucking way too goddamn long.
Yep.
And it's obvious to me that that's like you could probably make an algorithm where maybe you're learning something, maybe whatever, but it is definitely meant to keep you addicted to this like tiny little serotonin drip of and just keep you but it's also constantly influencing you along the way. And
you don't really notice it that it's influencing.
And it's really made me hate Facebook lately. Like I've been battling with myself about leaving Facebook.
I'm pissed that Zuckerberg put
I know
a 5-day ban.
I know a lot of people fucking kind of struggle with the thing to leave social media. I definitely see the benefit to do that. The only problem is it's so intertwined with my life that there's absolutely no way.
Yes,
see, that's
exactly.
the thing. I
think that I have the right mentality and fucking the know-how behind me to fucking get over the fucking fact. Like, I don't care what fucking other people have to say on fucking social media and shit like that. I'm there to post the shit that I want to. If you want to listen to me, cool, go ahead.
Yeah.
And like, I'm also there to put my shit out. Like, being an inspiring DJ that's going to fucking put music out, I can't delete social media.
Yep.
Moving on from fucking group Psychosis, we can talk about the Tinder Swindler if you want to. It does kind of go into that because that's another reason why fucking like Psychosis. This is more like
social media.
Yeah, this is a real more like
this is
individual Psychosis thing.
Oh.
But if you haven't, there's a show called or a documentary on Netflix, and it was a media thing that blew up a story called the Tinder Swindler, and it was essentially this dude who got onto Tinder. And he would make this profile where it showed him with like, the Gucci, the super lavish lifestyle and stuff like that. And these women would start messaging him And if you get into the movie a little bit, you find out that the whole entire reason why he has this lavish lifestyle is because he's conning the women that he is talking to on Tinder and shit like that.
Yeah. He, I mean, those women are still in debt. I just looked up.
The one girl got him.
Yeah,
The one girl got him good.
I mean,
got him caught, put in jail, and fucking got her money back.
well, a lot of the women are not out of
they
debt,
don't.
though. I mean, I think they put up a
But
GoFundMe for all the women.
that's that one chick that sees through the desensitization, the fucking psychosis right there. That was the one that fucking saw what had happened, even though she got duped for like 8 months or something like that.
Well, the whole thing that I brought up with Keith before we started this podcast is how I don't understand. Like, maybe I'm one of the people that, you know how you said she got out of the psychosis. How can you be so stupid? Like, I would never, ever in my life be like, oh, yeah, I'm going to go get a loan. I mean, like, even, like, I don't know if that makes me selfish, but even my girlfriend, I would not go out and get a loan.
It all comes down to money. In the initial part of the documentary that you see, by the way, just spoiler alerts, we're just going to go into
Oh,
this.
yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I forgot.
At the beginning of the movie, this woman comes across this dude, fucking swipes right. Now, he's a pretty decent looking dude, fucking, but I'm guessing fucking most of the reason why is because, like, this dude definitely is living an opulent lifestyle.
Yeah, well, that one girl, she said...
And he literally sends her 2 messages, and she goes and meets him at a fucking coffee shop.
Mm-hmm. Well, she said he looks like he has money, he's on these jets, and...
In my experience with these dating apps and stuff like that, it's hard to get people to meet that quickly, and I am one of those guys that fucking tries to meet that quickly just because I fucking hate texting. I cannot fucking portray proper emotion. People misunderstand me all the time when I fucking text. I think I'm just an all-around more enjoyable time when you're fucking sitting down next to me.
Yeah.
So I try to get...
Same thing with me and you.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, we should talk about whatever we're talking about in person.
Yeah, I try to get the interpersonal fucking relationship, like, in person as quickly as possible. But it doesn't work like that for me. So that leads me to believe...
And shit like
that leads me to believe that fucking the reason why the people are fucking just instantly doing this is because he has money. Now, the one girl was already set off. She also was one of the girls that was like, I really don't want anything like that. Like, she didn't want a relationship with him. They were more friends.
Yeah,
than
they were friends.
But what happens is he brings you into this lifestyle because they met up, they got coffee. He was like, hey, I'm leaving for London tomorrow. Do you want to come with me? So she was like, fuck it, YOLO. That's literally what she apparently texted.
She said YOLO to her friends.
Yeah, and went to this fucking London vacation with him and fucking was exposed to this fucking opulent lifestyle that most people don't see. And that creates the fucking psychosis. That fucking you see the fucking they're capable of all these fucking things. You don't really question where the money's coming from. Next thing you know, he says he's part of the diamond industry. And because he's in the diamond industry, it's a super sketchy industry, and it actually is. But because of that, he's making up all these things about his bodyguard getting fucking hit and like people following him, people attacking him. They're fucking freezing his bank accounts and stuff like that. So because of that, he's like, I need you to give me $10,000. So they take out a loan for $10,000, and then they keep going over and over again because at this point they're in a relationship, again, air quotes, and he just keeps taking money from all these different women around the world, and like he's living this lifestyle through them, through conning them.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
So it creates this fucking vicious circle.
Hell, I don't understand how he kept a relationship with so many women. Like, he
the
how did he
reason
not
why
get
he
them
did was because he
fucking,
was always on the road. Fucking, they never were able to keep tabs on him.
I'll text people and be like, ooh, fuck, sorry, didn't mean to text you that. It was supposed to go to somebody else.
I'll tell you what. I'm against cheating, but a lot of these people who get caught cheating on their significant other do so just because they're fucking stupid. It's really not that hard to get caught. It's really not that hard to get caught. If you don't fuck people that your other people know, then it's kind of hard. Yeah. So that's kind of where it is. And when you're talking about a world scale rather than just like local fucking West Side Cincinnati bullshit.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Because it was people from all over. It wasn't just like people in London or whatever.
Exactly. Yeah. He tricked them in with the money and the lavish lifestyle and got them to stay with him for a long time. Now, if you watch the actual documentary, there are some serious red flags that are coming immediately that she just keeps
that
all
that's
of the
what I'm
girls
saying.
just keep.
They were so stupid.
Yeah.
They do come in, but you know what? I will say this: props to the women for actually coming forward and fucking bringing this to fucking everybody, because that's not an easy thing to do.
No.
When you've fucking been manipulated to that point and you're
It's just
fucking
embarrassing.
hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt and stuff like that, to fucking come out there, of course the internet's gonna be like, you fucking stupid bimbo.
Yeah.
Fucking
Yeah.
gold
Yeah.
digger. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
But and they are stupid. But like you think about it, you
Way to put it so
They
eloquently,
are
Justin.
stupid.
you think about it, like because my experience on dating apps or even Snapchat, which some people use for dating, or but it doesn't matter.
I always get my Snapchat as like a visual thing. Like I don't check this often.
My
I didn't know that
Snapchat,
was a
the
thing,
only thing
though,
that happens
that
on my
really was
Snapchat, and even pretty often on Tinder or whatever else, is people trying to add me, contact me, and tell me like and try to scam me. You know,
Yeah,
it happens all the time, and I entertain them sometimes because it's
all
like
the
it's
time.
like it's kind of
Oh,
fun
yeah,
to
I
me,
love
you
it.
know, like but
See,
like
I just block them.
it's always really obvious to me that it's a scam, you know, but they wouldn't be doing it if there weren't people out there
That
that
are
were
actually-
easy to
this dude's-
scam.
Yeah,
This
they're
dude-
actually
You know,
doing it.
and he's doing it on a different level. Don't get me wrong.
Yes, yeah.
But if there are people that stupid to fall for these ones I'm talking
Right.
about, then somebody could be a pro at this, and it's happened.
And
obviously,
that's what
They-
they called him. They
Dude,
called him a pro.
me
Yeah.
He's a
and
pro
Chris-
at doing this.
Me and Chris were watching it and we're like, why the fuck are we doing this?
It's actually a really good documentary. If you've
Yeah,
never watched it,
no.
I know we gave some spoilers, but it's all over the internet.
I
But
will-
I would watch it still.
I will
It's
say-
it's an awesome documentary.
I will say every scammer that I entertain, for the sake of not promoting that behavior, I always end by completely horribly shaming them for like as long as I can, like just telling them that they're a piece of shit for taking advantage of stupid people, and like I blow them up
Someone's
about
gotta
it. I've ended up getting blocked by a couple of them.
Yeah, those people don't give a fuck.
Some of them will continue to try to convince me that it's a scam, even when I'm like cussing them out. You know, like
You remember on the Super Bowl, that fucking girl that I saw you fucking view her fucking Facebook story? And I
yeah,
was like, yo, that's so-and-so or
Yeah.
whatever. We'll call her Karen.
yeah.
Fucking, I was like, oh, yo, that's Karen. And you were like, yeah. So she posted something on her fucking Snap story that was like Stitch rolling on the ground. It was like when someone thinks that you're fake. And I was like, I messaged her to that fucking story. I was like, well, to be completely honest with you, I was like, you really don't talk in any of the stories that I've seen. I was like, you kind of just do these weird fucking videos and stuff like that. It's
make
just saying
these
not just
faces
ripping these
and-
weird fucking TikToks from someone.
Yeah.
And then she fucking starts video calling me. And I was like, hey, I'm at work. I can't fucking talk on the phone right now with whatever bullshit that you fucking calling me about. But fucking it got to the point where I was like, look, if you keep video calling me, I'm going to have to block you. And she was like, go ahead and block me, fucking blah, 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 whatever. Obviously, she probably was a real person because she did that. But it's one of those things where fucking you can so easily manipulate people just because fucking someone sees your story. If you're not fucking actively putting your fucking name on story or like talking and shit like that, you could just be ripping them and fucking making a fake account.
For sure,
See,
for
I
sure.
don't add people that I don't know though.
I
all the
like,
time.
I do.
I
yeah.
don't. I mean, there
I
are people that
constantly
add
do.
me, and it's mostly
On-
like
on
fucking.
Snapchat.
Honestly, on Snapchat, I add like every random account because most of them send me like free porn,
I
free
know,
porn
once in
of
5 minutes
free
at the
free
bar.
nudes of some
That's
random
what-
person. You know, like I'll
what I'm
take
saying.
it.
Most of
I'll
it's
meet
that.
someone
and
at
I'm
the
I'll
like,
take it. I
ah.
save it all.
Oh, I'll do that. I'll do that. If like, I don't do that anymore. But I would do that. I
No,
just I'm
but
bad on-
like I said, it gets to a point where like if I'm messaging someone on like what we're saying a dating application or something like that, like I don't check those very often. So I literally put on my thing fucking I might not respond. Go ahead and just add me on Snapchat or fucking Facebook or whatever.
Yeah.
And I always do post my thing because even though it is a dating application, I put like the podcast and shit on there because like hey, fucking might be another
Promotion,
viewer.
yeah.
might
A
be
shout out to all the people watching that found Keith from
Can I give
Tinder.
that one guy a shout out?
You might know a couple.
Can I give that one guy a shout out? Because that was cool.
Yeah,
guy I
no,
was
go
talking
for
about?
it. That shocked the fuck out
I
of me.
know. So I was talking with one of my friends, Nellum, at a bar last night.
Nelum's been on the podcast.
Okay, so Nellum. And so this guy goes, hey, do you know who Spills is? And I was like, yeah. He goes, are you on his podcast? And I said, yeah. And he was like, oh my gosh, I watch your podcast. He doesn't know Spilly. He doesn't know me. He just met me last night. And I can't remember his actual name, but he said his nickname was Musty. So Musty, if you're watching, shout out to you. That was cool as shit.
Yeah, no, that's awesome.
That made our day.
Yeah,
It was great.
I was like, holy shit. That's like, I thought most of the people that were viewing my fucking podcast were just people that I had known.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Way to go, Musty.
Yeah,
Way to
Musty,
go.
that was dope.
Yeah, so now that we moved on for that, we're going to end it with our last segment that we have, as we always do, what you've been sipping on, fucking, which is kind of what media you've been intaking, Justin. So, it could be music, video games, fucking, anything.
Am I going first? Okay. Well, I've been playing a lot of video games. I have a modded Xbox that has like all the old retro games from Atari to Nintendo 64. I've been playing.
It's like, and when you're talking like all the games, it's like all the games.
Yeah. The 64 ones don't play very well, but that's why I wanted to get into modding so I could fix that, because I know there's modern emulators that play 64 games and Xbox One games, and But so I've been playing a bunch of those, and I also have a PlayStation 5, and I've been playing Horizon Zero Dawn, and the sequel of that just came out, Forbidden West, and dude, that game. The first one was honestly like it's already one of my favorite video games I've ever played. It's so goddamn good.
And fucking, I've heard the fucking now that the second one comes out. I didn't realize how many people fucked with the first one until the second one come out, and then they did as well as they did. People were like, "Yo, this game's awesome."
Yeah,
I kind of want to steal it from you now.
Yeah, I have the greatest hit. Well, I have a PlayStation 5 disc, but so you couldn't do that in this.
I got it.
But
I'm gonna steal your whole PlayStation 5.
Oh yeah.
I'm stealing, bro.
But
you don't get to fucking choose in this situation.
But no, that game is really very good. But also as far as like watching TV, I've been getting back into The Walking Dead actually.
Oh really? I need to do that.
The final season is airing, and it's pretty wild. They actually have my interest pretty hardcore. I fell off after they killed Negan, but
you just spoiled a lot for me because I didn't fucking get to that point.
Oh really?
But
well,
yeah, no, I got right to the point where. Plus, you should just watch the spoilers on this fucking section anyway.
Yeah. Actually, I fucked up. I that's actually like that. I'm not gonna say anything actually because that spoiler's kind of incorrect. So.
I've never watched that show.
Okay, well, now. Here's the thing. I watched Walking Dead. I watched like the first 6 seasons or something like that. I'm not going to fucking say where I left off. It was the first episode of right when they start introducing Negan.
Okay.
And if you know what I'm talking about, I watched that first episode and I was like, okay. And I just never really picked it back up again. Started to get a little bit more repetitive than I had liked it to be. But the second season of Walking Dead was absolutely crazy. Like they have this thing that's right in front of you the entire time, and it comes out, and you're just like, "Oh, how the fuck didn't I see that bullshit?"
Yeah.
So don't get me wrong, it's fucking awesome. I thought they had already aired the last season, but I know they've gotten to a point where like the main characters and stuff from the first season weren't even on it anymore. I did want to get back.
There's a couple of them. Mm-hmm.
I did want to get back into it and start watching it all the way through, but
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I love what they've been doing with the last season. It's in it's like 3 different installments of I think 8 episodes apiece. They've already aired the first 8, and they're currently airing the second 8, and then the third. I guess I don't know when they're going to be putting that out, but I'm super excited to be caught up and looking forward to actually watching it as it airs because there's something cool about that. I don't know, like actually catching it when it's on TV.
That's what I always said about the whole Game of Thrones.
Yeah, that's
thing.
what I was about to bring up.
The first season of Game of Thrones, or the first episode that we had of Your House Our Rules, we actually talked about this. I thought that the ending of fucking Game of Thrones ended fucking absolutely perfectly, and like in the most sensible way that you could ever have it, and like there's just something to be said that like so many people hopped on the bandwagon so late. I've been watching Game of Thrones since the first season.
Yeah,
I wasn't allowed to watch
I've been watching it week by week, fucking tuned in.
The only series
I was too young. I wasn't allowed.
The only season I watched as it aired was the final season. So.
Yeah, that's the only season
I came in and caught up once they said it was on the last season.
I don't think the final season was. I don't know. I think the episodes, some of them were amazing. Some of them I was just like,
Without, if I could get into spoilers, I could go over a long list of what the problems I had with that final season. But
We're not doing that.
But
I'm not in this
but
argument.
I'm okay with
I'm
it.
not
I'm not that upset
moments.
about it. There were just some moments where I was just like, they definitely should have done more with that. But
Yeah.
it's not my show, so.
What you been sipping on, Bailey?
To be honest, not much. I've been working, but the new season of Space Force came out. Have you guys watched Space Force?
I have not.
It is just a comedy. Steve Carell stars in it.
Mm-hmm.
But I started rewatching the first season because it came out and I don't remember anything really that happened in the first season. So I was like, I better start keep watching the first season. And if you've never watched Space Force, if you like just something that is mindless to watch, it's not like
That's
a-
one of the things why it hasn't really
comedy.
been on my radar.
Yeah,
It
it's just
seems
a
like one of
comedy.
those mindless. Yeah.
it's kind of like The Office or something like
Yeah.
just mindless comedy, but it's a good show.
Yeah,
It's a good show.
that's the Steve Carell one where they're making fun of Trump's Space
Force, yeah. Yep.
I never took the time to watch it.
He's like the
They kind of
he's
just
like the
took that
commander
one
of the
thing
Space
that
Force.
Trump said, like, we're going to do a Space Force to get a couple more votes, and like just ran with it.
Yep. No, it's a good show though.
Yeah. As for me, I'm kind of in the same boat with you. Fucking getting the group up and getting the stuff in the group has taken up all my time this week. I've pretty much done that and slept. I got through one more episode of Surviving R. Kelly. That's not even really worth talking about because I'm still on episode 3. And then I've been basically just watching YouTube videos and shit to go to bed. I did get into a little bit in the past day or so. They dropped Elden Ring, that new video game that's coming out, and I've been watching some streams.
Jeff's been playing it all day.
Yeah, I was planning on getting it.
I want to get it.
I was planning on getting it Friday, and then I started watching it, and I was like, this looks like something that might take up a little bit too much time, and I was a little bit scared, but I think I've decided that tomorrow I'm going to give it a download, and I'm going to stream it and let's play it all the way through. So if I do start raging and shit like that, you're going to see a different side of me.
Are you gonna play it on PC or on your Xbox?
Well, I'm going to play it on my PC, but I don't know if I'm going to use a controller, because actually those games are a lot easier, or not easier. I guess they are easier. People play fucking Dark Souls, whether it's on a computer with a controller.
Yeah,
because
the guy I was watching did it on PC, and he said it flowed really well with a PC.
Okay. Yeah. Well, PCs are usually the higher tech gear when you have like an actual PC that you game on.
I don't game on PC.
But as for like using it with a controller over a mouse to keyboard, I think a lot of it just has to do with the motion. When you're able to use a thumbstick, you're able to control where you're going, not necessarily just 8 simple directions. So, yeah, I've been watching that. I'm going to do that. I'm going to start posting that in the chat and on my social medias. It's going to be on this page, too, the Let's Play that I have, just probably in fucking bigger chunks or whatever. So, be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for more content. Keep it Putin. Don't keep it Putin.
Don't
Fuck
keep it
Russia.
Putin.